just watching other people do it.
Well, Edward, it is completely inappropriate behavior, and I don't want you associated with it in any way. Now go to your room, young man.
You treat me like a little kid, Dad, and you embarrass me in front of my friends.
Oh, well, pardon me. I'm sorry that I embarrassed you in front of a guy named Weasel. A guy who flashes his fanny at feminine law enforcement officers.
Guys, the whole neighborhood can hear you. What's going on?
Your son is grounded. That's what's going on.
What?
You heard me.
Hey, Shalom, brothers. This is Brother Howard coming back with another one. Listen, I'm sorry to tell you. I'm sorry to say, and I'm sorry to tell you. The brothers, the prophets were not put here to be husbands. We were not put here to be fathers. We were not put here to be basketball players, right? We were not put here to be celebrities. We were not put here to be rich and famous, right? We were put here to serve Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai, period. And I know it sounds unfulfilling, right? Like there's no glitz, there's no glamour to it, right? Like what IUIC is trying to do, right? IUIC is trying to create a kingdom inside of another man's kingdom. We can't create our kingdom until this kingdom has been destroyed. So that means we're not trying to build anything here. We're not trying to prosper here. There is no prosperity here. The only thing that's here is going to be death and destruction. This is Ecclesiastes 3:1. To everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven. A time to be born and a time to die. A time to plant and a time to pluck up that which is planted. A time to kill and a time to heal. A time to break down and a time to build up. We're not in the time of building up, right? And that's what a family represents. A family represents a building up, right? As a man, that's how you first build your economy. Economy goes back to the word household, right? So what do you have to do when you have an economy? You build and you store. Are we in the time of storing up? No, right? Because one of our curses is that there's going to be holes in our basket. Okay? Verse 4, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance. We're not in the time of dancing, right? Even though, it's summertime now, it's nice out, the girls are out, they're half naked, right? They want to drink, they want to get drunk, they want to party, right? But we're not in the time of dancing. We're in the time of mourning. We're literally in the time of weeping. Verse 5, a time to cast away stones, a time to gather stones together, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to get and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to cast away, a time to rend and a time to sow, a time to keep silence and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time of war and a time of peace. And we're not in the time of peace. We're in the time of war. And you know what happens in the time of war? You lose. People die. Right? So we're not in the time to where we can build up our families, where we can watch our sons grow, we can plan out their future, right? Because remember, when let's say you have a daughter, you're supposed to be planning on who she's going to marry. There's steps to these things, right? When you have a son, he needs to be taking over your business. In this society, you're planning on your kid to go, he has to go to this school, he has to go to that school. All those schools is where you go and you get your bachelor's degree, right? Which goes back to Bacchus, right? Which is why they drink and they party and they get drunk. And that's where they learn their Luciferian ideologies, right? Like, homosexuality, like pedophilia, right? And everything else that they do, the acceptance of lesbians and all these different ideologies that these young kids accept that we never accepted previously. This is Matthew 19, verse 29. And everyone that hath forsaken houses or brethren, right? And our brother, like, you have a lot of brothers in the truth, man, that are exceptional. Brothers that are football players. These are brothers that would have been superstars. Brothers that are MMA fighters. Brothers that are intellectual, right? Brothers that would have been multi-millionaires in this society. But guess what they did? They forsook those houses, right? It says, or brethren, or sisters, or fathers, or mothers, or wife, or children, or lands, for my name's sake, shall receive 100-fold, and shall inherit everlasting life. Right? So really and truly, it's talking about a mindset. Right? There's a scene. Let me see if I can play it. Hopefully YouTube doesn't flag it. Let me see if I can find it.
Guy told me one time, don't let yourself get attached to anything you are not willing to walk out on in 30 seconds flat if you feel the heat around the corner. Now, if you're around me and you gotta move when I move, how do you expect to keep a marriage?
Oh, that's an interesting point.
See that, this scene is scriptural. And this is the mindset that the prophets have to have, right? Why do we have to have that mindset? Let me get a scripture. This is Genesis 19, verse 12. And, we all should know the story of Lot. And it says, and the men said unto Lot, hast thou here any besides son-in-law, and thy sons and thy daughters? And whatsoever thou hast in the city, bring them out of this place. Verse 13, for we will destroy this place, because the cry of them is waxen great before the face of the Lord, and the Lord had sent us to destroy it. Right? Those are the angels. And Lot went out and spake unto his sons-in-law, which married his daughters, and said, up, get you out of this place, for the Lord will destroy this city. But he seemed as one that mocked unto his sons-in-law. And when the morning arose, then the angels hastened Lot, saying, arise, take thy wife and thy 2 daughters, which are here, lest thou be consumed in the iniquity of the city. And while he lingered, the men laid hold upon his hand, and upon the hand of his wife, and upon the hand of his 2 daughters, the Lord being merciful unto him, and they brought him forth and set him without the city. And it came to pass, when they had brought them forth abroad, that he said, escape for thy life, look not behind thee. That's very important. Remember that. Look not behind thee. Right? Just remember the scene that we just watched from the movie Heat. Neither stay thou in all the plain. Escape to the mountain, lest thou be consumed. And Lot said unto them, O not so, my Lord. Behold, now thy servant had found grace in thy sight, and thou hast magnified thy mercy, which is what we're looking for, right? We're living in the last days. The Lord is going to destroy this sinful kingdom known as Babylon, the virgin daughter, right? Babylon the Great, which is America. The Most High is going to destroy this place by the hand of his son and by the hand of his angels, right? So what are we looking for? We're looking for mercy. It says, which thou hast shewed unto me in saving my life, and I cannot escape to the mountain, lest some evil take me and I die. Behold, now this city is near to flee unto, and it is a little one. Oh, let me escape thither. It is not a little one, and my soul shall live. And he said unto him, see, I have accepted thee concerning this thing also, that I will not overthrow this city for the which has spoken. Haste thee, escape thither, for I cannot do anything till thou be come thither. Therefore the name of the city was called Zoar. The sun was risen upon the earth when Lot entered into Zoar. Then the Lord rained upon Sodom and Gomorrah brimstone and fire from the Lord out of heaven, and he overthrew those cities and all the plain and all the inhabitants of the cities and that which grew upon the ground. But his wife looked back from behind him, and she became a pillar of salt. And what she looked back for was never said, so it can be extrapolated or presumed, right? She could have loved the Sodom and Gomorrah for, the riches, the homosexuality. Who knows? This is just something you have to extrapolate as to why, right? Why she looked back, because that was her judgment. Her judgment was to turn into a pillar of salt, right? Maybe she was committing adultery, right? Maybe she was committing homosexuality. Who knows? But there was a reason why she looked back at Sodom, right? If the Most High told me I'm going to destroy America, which he is, and he told me don't look back at America, why am I looking back unless there's something in the city that I'm going to miss? She had her husband, she had her 2 daughters, and they were going to escape out of a place that's going to be destroyed. What did you have to look back for? What? There was nothing there. Unless there was something there. And obviously we have to extrapolate. There was something there that she was looking back at for someone who she loved, or, someone she was infatuated with. There was something there why she looked back. She was sad about something, because why would you need to look back when you had everything with you that you love, which was your husband and your 2 daughters? You don't need to look back for anything. You're escaping a place that's about to be destroyed with the people that you love. What are you looking back for? Right? So it's the mindset that we have to have. And why do we have to have that mindset? Because, brothers, with families, what if the Lord kills your children? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? You're going to jump out of the chariot to go and save them? Oh, I can save them, Lord. What if the Lord kills your mom? What are you going to do? What if the Lord kills your dad? What are you going to do?
Well, that's an interesting point. What are you, a monk?
And that was a really good question, right? Because that's how people look. They look at us, right? And really and truly, him saying, what are you, a monk? What is he saying? What's he saying? He's asking him, how are you this disciplined? Right? So brothers, we have to be disciplined. That's all that it comes down to. It just comes down to being disciplined.
I have a woman. What do you tell her? I tell her I'm a salesman.
You see why we tell you, brothers, that in this truth, sometimes you got to be like Clark Kent and Superman. Your woman don't need to know everything, man. She don't need to know everything. If your woman is really about you, if your woman really loves you the way that she claims to love you, well, guess what? She's going to show it in her actions. And then you reward her. And then you reward her for her loyalty, or you reward her for her actions, or you reward her for her submissiveness, or you reward her for her good behavior. You reward her for whatever she's doing that you are pleased with. But she doesn't need to know everything.
So then if you spot me coming around that corner, you're just gonna walk out on this woman?
Do you know what he represents? This is Al Pacino talking. Him and oh my gosh, one of my favorite actors too, man. Al Pacino and this guy. Oh man, that's I need your WhatsApp. I need your WhatsApp, man. Damn. He's in one of my favorite movies, man. Old school movie called Raging Bull. Oh man, I don't even remember his name right now. That's Salakia. Excuse me for not remembering the man's name. But what does Al Pacino represent? He represents, because he said, if you spot me coming around the corner, what does he represent? He represents death and destruction. He represents calamity and loss. He represents calamity and chaos.
Not say goodbye?
That's the discipline.
You heard the word that he used? You heard the word that he used? That's the discipline. I didn't even remember that he said that, because I haven't watched this movie in a long time. I forgot that he used the word discipline. But when Al Pacino called him a monk, that's what you're supposed to get from it, right? When people call you something like that, or are you a monk? Or, I'm not even going to say priest, because these priests are not even disciplined. These priests are some wicked individuals. Monks are wicked too, right? That's why the Dalai Lama was caught kissing the little boy, right? These people are all wicked, man. These people are all Luciferians. But that discipline, right? And he ended up using, and he just told you, that's that discipline. And are you going to have that discipline? Oh, brothers don't have a choice. You have to have that discipline, man. We're living in the last days, man. Straight up. Right? And with that, I'd like to give all praises, glory, and honor unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakudash. Double honors unto the elders and elder apostles of GMS that rule well and that teach well. And to the brothers on the four corners of the earth doing this work in truth and in sincerity. Shalom. Till next time. Kwame Yasharallah.